Hey guys, it's Eva, or Ivanovna, or Lynette, or Ivanovna Lynette. If you've ever seen my YouTube channel, well, welcome. I'm here to tell you today about Anchor and how you can start your own podcast. Anchor is this free tool that you can use to start your very own podcast right from your desktop or your mobile device. So wherever you are, Anchor is there with you. Anchor gives you the tools to start a podcast right from your desktop or mobile device. Absolutely free. There's so many tools on here that you can use to edit and record your podcast, add music, and lots more. Not just that, but Anchor will distribute your podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever podcasts are streamed. So you have no excuse to not start on Anchor. And Anchor will also match you up with people that want to sponsor your podcast. That way you get paid for doing the thing that you love. And you do not need a minimum listenership. That's right, you can get paid with no minimum listenership. So what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor FM app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR FM. Do it now.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Is This Thing On? So, first of all, I want to apologize and say that I'm sorry for not posting an episode last week. There's no excuse because we're all in quarantine and there's plenty of time to get creative and work on my podcast. But if I'm being honest with you, my grad school has been stressing me out, and even though it's complete, it's still been stressing me out and making me anxious. And I don't know why, because I've wanted to be in school for so long, but I guess it's just me kind of getting back into the rhythm of it that's making me anxious. But I'm gonna try to not use that as an excuse all the time and, try to focus on this too as well. So, by the way, if you've noticed, I am currently, if it sounds windy and full of noise right now, is because I am walking my dog and recording this podcast simultaneous at the same time. I tried to say simultaneously, but I can't say that word. And it's kind of hard. You're probably like, how are you doing that? I'm doing it through the app, the podcast app on my phone. That's how I'm able to record mobily. But yeah, it's kind of a challenge because my dog pulls and tugs at any little sound. And of course, if he has to go to the bathroom. And so, it's just kind of like frustrating. But yeah. Sorry for not posting last week. I will get on the ball and make more room and time and actually schedule. Not schedule. So that's the thing that I wanted to bring up. So I am actually not going to be having a set schedule for this podcast. I tried. It didn't work. And I ended up being lazy, and I thought that would make me more structured to have it at a particular time, but it obviously didn't. So instead, my podcast is still going to be every Monday, but I'm just going to post whenever. So you may never know what time on Mondays I will post this podcast episode, but I will let you all know through all my social media platforms. And that way you guys can be informed about that. But yeah, I just wanted to make that very clear because I know some of y'all are probably like, it's noon. Where's the brand new podcast episode? She's getting lazy. And to that I say, you are right. And I'm sorry. Being lazy is not a great answer. But it's the answer you're going to get because that's just what happened. I got lazy. I got preoccupied with my schoolwork. And just this whole mess of this pandemic is just kind of, messing me up. But yeah, I hope my neighbors are not looking at me like I'm crazy for talking to myself to my phone, but it's perfectly fine. They'll probably just think I'm on the phone with someone. But yeah, so this episode, so I'm gonna be honest, every single week rolls around and I never know what I'm going to talk about on these episodes. I truly do not. I never know. And so that makes it frustrating for me because I don't have a script for this podcast. I kind of just ramble on, and yeah, whatever comes out. And if I don't like it, I edit it, and the edited final cut is what you get on this podcast. So most of it is unedited because I'm kind of just lazy and don't feel like going into my software and just taking out bits and pieces that don't sound right. But sometimes I just leave it in because I'm like, oh, it's part of me, part of my personality. So yeah, but yeah, truthfully, sometimes I really don't know what to talk about on these episodes. My neighbors just looked at me like I'm a crazy woman. Yeah, but I think today's topic is probably one that is important to me, and I think a lot of people, and it's something that I think all of us to this day struggle with, and that's body image. So it's a really, really tough thing to talk about sometimes, or to be dealing with, because, you know, from the time we are born to the time that we leave this earth, we are constantly being told what to do, what to wear, how to look, and of course that affects our self-esteem and everything else that comes with that. And so for me, body image was always a big thing. I I was a chubby kid growing up, and I didn't start losing the weight till I was probably like towards the end of elementary school. And then I got into middle school and I was so skinny, and that was probably because I was in gymnastics for a little bit and martial arts, so that kept me fit and active. I always did a lot of different activities growing up, and so that helped me a lot. But even from like a young age, you know, I was told by people that I knew to suck in my stomach, to not wear a certain thing because it made me look fat, to, you know, watch what I eat, and just a number of things. And when you just hear that repeatedly and collectively over and over again throughout the years, it just kind of becomes part of your mindset, and you kind of become obsessed with the idea of, you know, appeasing to other people's perceptions and opinions of you, but you kind of also become obsessed with perfection and trying to fit a certain mold and look a certain way. And the truth of the matter is, no matter how much we work out or how much we change our mindset, we will never attain perfection. It's just not humanly possible. And it sucks that, you know, sometimes when we're growing up, when we're going through life, we don't necessarily have the best role models slash people slash information to kind of just deviate us away from that catastrophic idea of looking perfect, you know. And it's sad because I remember watching Nickelodeon or Disney Channel and thinking, I want to look like Miley Cyrus, I want to look like Hannah Montana, I want to look like Demi Lovato, I want to look like Selena Gomez, I want to look like Victoria Justice, I want to look like Jamie Lynn Spears before she had the baby. So yeah, and you look up to all these like girls, and of course you're a young impressionable girl or boy, and you're just like, why don't I look like that? Why isn't my body shaped that way? And there's a number of reasons why, no matter how much exercise you do, your body will never get that way. And one of the main proponents is genetics, your diet, your sleeping patterns, how much stress you have in your life, your hormones. Puberty obviously plays a big factor. And your environment, and just a bunch of things. So if you're expecting to look model thin and your body is just not structured to be that way, I'm sorry, honey, but it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Believe me, I would work out so much, and I would watch what I would eat, and the skinniest I ever was a size 0. I was never a 00. Could never get to a double or 000 because your girl got a booty, and not big hips, but I got hips and I got a booty, and I've always had a booty since I was little. So yeah, that's also probably why ballet wouldn't have worked out for me, because, and this is in no way a disrespect to ballerinas or dancers anywhere, but you gotta be aerodynamically light to be like a ballerina. If you don't believe me, you can look it up, but it's been proven that you have to be like that in order to dance. But yeah, like the lightest, oh my gosh, the tiniest size I could get to was a 0. And after middle school, I still remained a 0, but I remember being a freshman or sophomore in high school, and I was still really active. I was still doing sports. I was doing cross country and track, and I remember noticing that my pant size was going up and it was freaking me out. So now I was no longer a size 0, I was a 2 or a 3 or a 4. And it really started to freak me out, because I'm like, I'm working out so much, and yet it seems like I'm gaining this weight. Well, it turns out that, well, okay, we'll get to that part. But I was pretty skinny, even when I was still doing sports. And I remember being like 16 years old, and I'm short, but I remember asking someone, because I think I weighed like 110 or 115, or I had weighed like 115, because I've always had like really thick thighs, really muscular legs, and I have a booty, of course. And so I remember asking some girls in the locker room, or was it like a coach or a trainer, I don't know, in the locker room, because I was in cross country and track. I remember asking them, is 115 really heavy? And they were like, no, you're perfectly fine. And in my head, I was already like bashing myself for gaining weight, whenever you're doing like an intense sport or exercise in general, you know, sometimes you gain weight because you are gaining muscle, and muscle weighs more than fat. And so I wish someone had just told me that, and I could have been okay with that. But later on, after I stopped doing cross country and track, um, I didn't start noticing that I was gaining weight till probably my junior year. And in my junior year, I wasn't in track or cross country anymore. And so I did start gaining weight. And it really, really upset me because once I was like a senior or towards the end of high school, I was my heaviest that I had ever been. And don't ask me to recall how much weight I had gained, but it was a lot for like my height and my age. And so I just remember feeling disgusted with myself and just absolutely upset and depressed that I was gaining so much weight, because it just seemed like overnight I had gained like 20-30 pounds. And I went from being like a size 2 to 4 to like a size 10. And let me just clarify that there is nothing wrong with being a size 10. Everybody's body is proportioned differently. But to me, that seemed like an exuberant amount of, pant size, because I'm a small frame. And yeah, I was just so taken aback by how much weight I had gained. And then I found out later that the reason I had gained so much weight was because of my hormones. So I had found out that I had, issues with my hormones, and I had a hormonal imbalance which caused me to gain weight. And I didn't find this out until I was a junior in college. I've already mentioned my backstory in college, but I won't go in depth. But basically, I was a junior in college already at 18 because of my previous background in high school that I did college classes in high school. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that because I've already talked about that. But yeah, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm trying to get it back. So, okay, yes, it's back. So, it wasn't until my junior year of college that I was starting to work out again, and I would go to the gym on campus at my university. And I had made the conscious decision to be I graduated high school in May of 2015. So I remember that year, around April, May, I was like, you know what? Because I felt like deep down inside the reason I was gaining weight is because something was wrong with my body, which I turned out to be right, because I knew my body. And not just that, but I had irregular periods. TMI, guys. If you're a guy and you don't want to listen to this portion of the podcast, it's fine. You can tune out. I don't really care. You won't offend me. But periods are something perfectly normal and natural to talk about. So we're going to talk about it because it pertains to my story. Anyways, so the hormone imbalance had to do also with my irregular periods. I got my period when I was like 13 years old. And ever since then, my menstrual cycle has never been regular. I don't know why. It's just something that has been like that. Well, then later on, when I was in college and I started working out again, going to the gym, and I was working out a lot, 3 or 4 times a week, most, because I did have a very, very big course load in college. But I would also try to go to the gym because I wanted to stay healthy and not gain 15 pounds as they call it, the freshman 15, even though I was not a freshman. Anyways, so yeah, I remember just feeling so out of balance with my body. And it wasn't until I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me that, and I had, okay, guys, don't do this, but I kind of had self-diagnosed myself with a condition called PCOS, which stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. And basically, what that means is that my body has cysts, and cysts are like these little molecules. They're like follicles of something. Honestly, I forget. And I had them in my ovaries. And the reason I knew this is because I went to the doctor. Okay, I went to the gynecologist. If you don't know what a gynecologist is, come on, look it up. It's a female doctor. Anyways, I went to my gynecologist and they did an ultrasound on me. No, guys, I was not pregnant. I was trying to find out what the frick was wrong with me and why I was gaining so much weight. And yeah, he had later confirmed what I thought I had. And so I remember after finding that out, it was kind of like not a relief, because I was mad that I have this condition, but it was kind of like, oh, so this is why I've gained all this weight. It's not just me eating like a pig. It's, there's a reason behind this. So I had found out about that, and I had been prescribed birth control, and also it was this medication that's usually taken for people with diabetes or pre-diabetic people, and it was called metformin. And I remember taking my birth control and this other medication and just feeling so disgusted. I felt nauseous, I felt pale, my blood sugar would be going down, I was lethargic a lot of the time, and it just didn't help me. So about after like a month and a half, I stopped taking my birth control and I stopped taking my metformin medication. And basically what metformin does is that it's supposed to help regulate your sugar, and it's supposed to help with like your insulin levels. So like if you have insulin resistance, they usually prescribe you that. But I didn't have that, and I wasn't pre-diabetic or had been displaying diabetic symptoms. So I don't understand why my doctor was giving me a diabetic medication. But I remember one of my doctors had told me that it's for losing weight, but if anything, the birth control along with the metformin made me gain weight even more. So that's another thing to keep in mind whenever you're taking anything. Always ask your doctor if it's gonna affect you. And yeah, just do that, because you don't want to find out later after you've gone through some horrible symptoms. And so yeah, I did all that, but I got sidetracked and I forgot to mention. So my senior year of high school, when I was about to graduate in May of 2015, I had made the conscious decision that I wanted to change my diet. I wanted to be healthier. And so I had done research about it, and I had decided that I wanted to become vegetarian slash pescatarian, because I do eat fish once in a while. I try not to have it, but if I feel like I'm needing that, I guess, source of acids like folic and amino acids, I will eat some fish, I'm sorry. But it's very seldomly. My diet is pretty much all vegetarian. So I had made the decision to become vegetarian, and it helped me a lot. I'm still vegetarian to this day. It'll be 5 years in May of this year, and I feel good. I feel great. Is it hard at first going cold turkey and figuring out what you're gonna eat? Yeah. Do I recommend going cold turkey? It kind of just depends. For me, I was able to go cold turkey and become vegetarian overnight because I just felt disgusted by the taste of meat. And I'm not just talking about red meat. I'm talking about like poultry and chicken and pork and any kind of meat except fish. I just felt disgusted by it. And also I just had seen so many videos on how they mistreat animals, and it really, really, really affected me. And so I wanted to do it not just for my health, but for ethical reasons. And so, yeah, I decided to just do that. And so after doing all that, after taking my medication and going to the doctor and doing all that, and exercising, it took a while, but I didn't start losing weight till after college. In 2018, I took a break from like working out for like a whole year, and of course I'd gained weight, and I started going back to the gym in 2018, and it took me a whole year and a half, but I lost 17 pounds. And I was really happy and really proud of myself because for a long time I was obsessing over the number on the scale. And I'm not going to lie and sit here and say to you guys that there isn't times where I don't obsess over the number on the scale. But I can't tell you the last time I weighed myself. Can't recall, but I felt proud of my progress because I had lost all this weight, and it did take a while. It took me being disciplined and going to the gym 6 days a week, to really be able to, make myself healthier. And I don't mean just like, as in like dropping weight on a scale, but like being healthy, not just physically, but like emotionally, psychologically. Like exercise has really, really helped me in that aspects of my life. And so, of course, losing that weight, gave me some validation. I felt more confident. I felt better about myself. I lost like 3 or 4 pant sizes, and I was really happy about that. And yeah, it was a big win for me. But it doesn't matter how much weight you lose. You can still have that feeling of feeling inadequate and feeling like not the best. And so I try not to let that get to me, because I know that it's much better to feel good internally and be healthy in every other sense of the way. But if you're not happy, and if you're constantly obsessing over the things that are superficial, like your body weight, which fluctuates all the time. And yeah, I think what helped me lose the weight and feel better about myself was a of course, exercise was a big part of it, but it was also just me not focusing so much on that, and just me just really like just listening to my body and eating clean and going to bed on time and making sure I was good, in my mental health, because that affects a big part of it. And so, yeah, you can lose so much weight, but if you feel empty, I mean, what's that going to serve you? Because you're just focusing on a superficial number. And, oftentimes that is the thing that will make us the most unhappy. And so, a thing that I've kind of like learned and picked up and heard from other people is that, you gotta start looking at your body as like an energy source, as a form of survival. Like, you have to feed your body in order to survive. And if you feed your body, if you exercise, if you focus on building a good relationship with your mind and your body, and looking at your body as a beautiful thing that is able to create life, give life, and that literally our body has like cells that fight off diseases. And I think that's such a amazing mentality to have, that your body is your source of life, and it's for survival. And I think once you start treating your body that way, and you start being kinder to yourself, I think it'll be not just easier to lose weight, but to feel better about yourself mentally, and to not view yourself in such a negative light or beat yourself up for gaining weight. I know right now during this quarantine, I love going to the gym. I love working out. And so I've been trying to walk my dog just around the neighborhood every single day. But I don't like the fact that I'm not able to go to the gym and work out on the machines and do all that, because that's my routine. I would finish with work and then go to the gym and do all that, and that just was one of the many things that would keep me sane and would keep me healthy. And not having that is kind of just it weighs you down a little bit, especially during this period of isolation. But yeah, body image, I think, is something that no matter how old, how young, how thin, or how, curvilicious that we get, is something that we're always going to be dealing with. And, our body changes for a numerous amount of reasons. It changes when we have a baby. It changes when we go through puberty. It changes when we change our diets, when we do all these things that affect us. And I don't think it helps to be cruel to our body or deprive ourselves of the things that we need sometimes. Like, if you have a craving for chocolate or something sweet or something savory, just give into it, because there's a reason why your body is craving that. And it could be sometimes because you're lacking a certain vitamin or a certain nutrient. And ladies, if you're listening to this, I've already mentioned periods, but hey, when you are on your menstrual cycle, let me just tell you, it feels like you're pregnant, because you are craving all these random things. And honestly, we have that week and those few days to just kind of give into our cravings when we're on our menstrual cycle. And it's not a bad thing, because think about it, we're losing a lot of blood, you know? And so it's kind of in a way like our body depleting us of nutrients and resources. And it's okay, girl, to indulge in that chocolate or in those Cheetos or in those, you know, whatever it is you're craving. For me, it's usually chocolate and like hot Cheetos. I don't know. I have the weirdest cravings even when I'm not on my menstrual cycle. It's just weird. But yeah, I think that when we really listen to our body and we become in tune with it, and we learn to, you know, nurture our body and make sure that we're getting the nutrients that we need and that we're eating healthy, we're eating clean, you know, our body's going to reward us. And so we just got to remember that. Especially now that we're going through so much famine and disease, and, you know, really just really be conscious of what you're putting into your body, because that can really help your immune system or deteriorate it. Am I even pronouncing that? It can really help your immune system or deteriorate. Oh my Lanta, I can't even pronounce what I'm saying. Deteriorate it. Okay, we're just gonna go with that pronunciation. So yeah, just make sure you're eating your proteins, your carbs, your vegetables, your fruits, and make sure you're getting enough sleep. And I know that sometimes a lot of our body insecurity stems from having really low and really poor self-esteem, especially if you're someone that struggles with anxiety or depression, and then you're here dealing with your body image. It just makes it even harder to have all that just mounted on you. And sometimes it feels impossible to overcome you feeling a certain way, and you feel like you're just never gonna get through it, and you're just always gonna be, you know, you feel like you're an ugly duckling sometimes. I know I do a lot of the times. It's been a hard thing for me to accept something as simple as like compliments sometimes, because I've torn myself down so much over my body, over the way I look, over how I act, my personality. And does it do me any good? No. Is it a really hard pattern to break out of? Absolutely. You start believing all the lies, and you start accepting that, and slowly that becomes your reality. And that's really scary and sad when you let all these negative ideologies and negative thoughts consume you. And I don't know, I just want to encourage anyone out there that's listening to this, that's going through, you know, insecurities over their body image, to please listen to your loved ones that actually care about you and that want the best for you. And if you are dealing with something that's out of your control, like an eating disorder, please get help, because it's not healthy to stay like that. you can potentially kill yourself by not getting the help you need. And it's really hard. It's really hard to deal with anorexia or bulimia. I'm really grateful that I never went through that my body image insecurities never went beyond that extreme, but it's really unfortunate and sad to see someone lose their life over anorexia or bulimia just because someone told you that you look fat or bloated in a dress. And honestly, our body changes from day to day. Even in the morning, from morning to night, like sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, ooh girl, your body looks amazing. And then I get to like 10 or in the afternoon, 10 in the morning, or I get to noon and my body changes so quickly, and sometimes I end up beating myself up over like how bloated my body looks that day, when sometimes I can't change those circumstances. And so I think that we can start off by instilling healthy habits like working out, having a good diet, having a good lifestyle, surrounding yourself with people that radiate positivity and light, and we can change our thought process about how we perceive our bodies, and then we'll be able to focus on the exterior, like losing weight or getting to a certain, pant size, or I don't know, whatever it is you are aiming for. But just remember that you're beautiful just as you are, and your body is a precious thing and you should protect it and value it. So with that, guys, I say go forth, prosper, and God bless. Bye.